on the night of April 14th, 1912, as the evacuation of the RMS Titanic began. The expectation might seem obvious. Everyone would rush toward the lifeboats, eager to leave the ship as quickly as possible. Please subscribe. But the reality was far more complex. Not everyone chose to board a lifeboat. In fact, some people refused. Their decisions, shaped by a mix of perception, belief, and circumstance, remained one of the most fascinating and emotional aspects of the Titanic's story. In the early stages of the evacuation, the situation did not appear as urgent as we might imagine today. The ship was still stable, the lights were on, and there was no immediate sense of chaos. This belief played a major role in how people responded to the instructions being given. When lifeboats were first prepared, they were not filled immediately. Some passengers hesitated, unsure of whether leaving the ship was necessary. From their perspective, stepping into a small boat and lowering into the cold, dark ocean felt more dangerous than remaining on a large, well-lit vessel. The sense of security provided by the ship influenced their decisions in powerful ways. Another factor was trust. Many passengers believed that the crew had full control of the situation. The calm behavior of officers and staff reinforced this belief, creating the impression that everything was being managed effectively. If those in charge did not appear alarmed, it was easy for passengers to assume that there was no need for immediate action. Social norms also played a role. At the time, there were strong expectations about behavior during emergencies, particularly regarding who should board lifeboats first. This created situations where some individuals stepped back, allowing others to take their place. For them, refusing a lifeboat was not about ignoring danger. It was about following what they believed was the right course of action. There were also moments of personal decision-making that reflected individual values. Some people chose to remain with family members or companions, even if it meant giving up a chance to leave. Others felt a sense of duty or responsibility that influenced their choice. These decisions were deeply personal, shaped by relationships, beliefs, and the emotional weight of the moment. As the night progressed and the reality of the situation became clearer, the perspective began to change. The ship's condition worsened, the urgency increased, and the number of available lifeboats decreased. For some, the earlier decision to stay behind became something they could not reverse. What had once seemed like a reasonable choice now carried greater consequences. The story of those who refused lifeboats highlights the complexity of human behavior in uncertain situations. Decisions are not always based on clear information or immediate logic. They are influenced by perception, emotion, and the environment. On that night, these factors combined to create outcomes that were both unexpected and deeply human. It is also important to understand that refusing a lifeboat did not always mean fully rejecting safety. In many cases, it was a temporary decision, a hesitation rather than a firm choice. But in a situation where time was limited, even a brief delay could have lasting effects. Looking back, these moments offer valuable insight into how people respond under pressure. They show that in the absence of clear danger, individuals may rely on what feels familiar or safe, even if it is not the best option. The environment on the RMS Titanic, calm, structured, and well-managed, made it difficult for some to fully accept the reality of the situation. More than a century later, the decisions made that night continue to be studied and discussed. They remind us that human behavior is not always predictable, especially in moments of uncertainty. They also highlight the importance of clear communication and timely action in emergency situations. In the end, the people who refused lifeboats were not simply making a mistake. They were responding to the situation as they understood it at the time. Their choices reflect the complexity of the moment, the influence of perception, and the challenges of making decisions without complete information. The story of the RMS Titanic is filled with dramatic events and powerful images. But within that story are quieter moments of decision, hesitation, and belief. Moments where people had to choose. And sometimes they chose to stay.